Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Survival Minecraft Forever World. Today, we're going to start by going to the Nether. Oop. I got big plans today. Today, we are going to be working on our XP farm using that zombie spawner we found. I found a use for the book and quill, and that's going to be looking at our plan. So, as you can see, we're going to start with the Nether, go straight to building that XP farm, getting to build, and then by the end of today, hopefully we have full diamond enchants. I got plans for that as well. I know what I want, so this is what we're aiming for, and hopefully that XP farm is going to get us there. This is a pretty early game XP farm, nothing too fancy. It's just going to be really to pull us through until maybe we make a Enderman farm or something like that, but it should make do for our purposes. We're not at mending or anything like that, so I'm excited to get started on it. Let's go check out the Nether and hopefully gather some soul sand for a bubble elevator. Alright, here we are. Oh, and we're right next to another fortress and one of these blue warped forests. I am not mad at this spawn at all. I think it's just in general a good idea to create a little ghast safety wall around our portal. Oh, that baby scared me. Okay. There's some soul sand right there. Let's just sneak and grab that. There's a bunch over there as well. Though my goal is not to make things look pretty, I do want to make sure things are pretty safe, because I'd hate to die in a dumb way and lose all my levels just trying to traverse the area. So grab a bunch of this soul sand. We really don't need much because I just plan on using this for a bubble elevator today. And I think that's about all we are going to do. I don't want to go into the fortress until we got our enchants all set up, so I think we can leave that. As you can see up in here, I had a bit of a exploration session before we started today's video, where I just went running around in the world and I was looking for new wood types and stuff like that. I was kind of feeling a bit boxed in with the materials that we had, and I wanted to use some new blocks and colors for today's build. So I went running around and found a pale garden and jungle, cherry blossoms, and some dark oak. So hopefully we can do that. I haven't played much with what's that pale garden wood even called? The pale oak. I haven't played at all with the pale oak, so I'm excited to check that out. Let's start here though and tick these off. Gonna change them from dashes to plus signs, and we can move on to our next task, which is build the zombie XP farm. Alright, so here we are already. It's right off of our path, which is super convenient. This is the spawner that we found in our first episode. So I'm gonna just make, I think, a spiral staircase going down for easy access. I plan on making the building up here and then using a bubble elevator to get the zombies up. So we just need to get access to that spawner first. I cannot remember how far down it is, so we are just going to be digging until we get there. We really did not need much of a stair set at all. This is so much higher than I remember it being. Alright, I think I kind of remember how to make these. I need to look up the fall distance and stuff because I want it to be a one-hit farm. But I'm pretty sure we need to break 4 blocks on each side, so I'm going to clear that out, and then we will meet back up and start building and discussing what this is going to look like. Alright, and that is it dug out. This is a great start, I think. So I think I want to use some tinted glass on the top so we can kind of see what's happening, maybe from the base of our build or something. I'm not 100% what I want to do yet as far as that goes, but because of that, I'm definitely going to want to decorate the walls in here a little bit as well. So I think that we should go up to the top, maybe set up that glass, and that'll also allow me a minute to kind of think about what I want to do block-wise for the rest of the build. I also want to find a video. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, so I want to go up and I want to get some of that glass put in, clear out a little area up there so we can think about the build on top and how we need to build our farm to go with that. That'll also give me a second to think about what I want to do for blocks, and I also need to find an XP farm video. I think I could do it from memory, but I really don't want to mess it up and then have to come back in and fix all of it after we've already placed in the blocks and stuff, because like I don't know the pattern for the water down here and stuff like that. So I just wanted to go as smooth as possible. So I'm gonna move up there, I'm gonna start working on that, and then hopefully we will get building soon. Yeah. Alright, so we got the space all cleared out and it is now a blank canvas ready to start on this XP farm. I also went and gathered up a bunch of materials from some of our exploration earlier and just made sure that we'd have a good launching point and hopefully won't need to go and immediately grab a bunch more. So I'm gonna follow this tutorial by Real Jaden on YouTube of how to make like a simple farm. I'll probably do my own thing a little bit as well, but that way I'll just for sure not super mess this up. So I'm gonna follow that and get the walls in, and then we are going to be good to go on decorating the actual structure. Alright, so about an hour later and a big ugly cobblestone pipe has been made. The XP farm is working. We got the spawner under here working away, and the zombies are very slowly going down into that channel, going into the wall, up a bubble elevator, through this big Mario pipe looking thing, and down to right here. And so we should be able to, in theory, kill most of these with like a hit or two of the hand, or with a sword. It should just be one hit. So now that we are all finished with the XP farm and moving on to the structure, I think we're going to make a big hill of sorts going over, or maybe closer to a mountain, though that wasn't the intention, and let that inform the inside of the build. I think built into said mountain we'll probably do some ruins or like a dungeon entrance of sorts. So we're gonna move on to a time lapse of that build and then catch back up after. Alright, man. This project got really big really fast. I was not intending on having to build a mountain today. Um, but I could not think of a good way to hide that ugly Mario style pipe. So here we are. I went through all the dirt I had. I had to continue collecting dirt, but I think it looks fairly natural and it keeps our area looking like its hilly self and not ugly with that cobblestone. Now that we got this mountain build up and we're moving on, we can go through and check this off and move to our XP building of the structure itself. After a little bit of thinking, I've decided I'm going to turn this into a dark fantasy kind of ruins. I'm kind of imagining something like in Fellowship of the Ring. I got an inventory full of some blocks. I also have some up in here that we've collected. So I'm just going to freestyle and hopefully piece something together. I think the exterior is going to be like tower ruins. And then I'm going to make a kind of cave, organic looking structure, weaving in and out all the way to our XP farm where we got the zombies spawning and all that. So let's get started with that. Alright, so we're all textured up now. All of the blocks are in, and I also added some walls and slabs here and there. So I'm feeling pretty okay with how this looks. I also moved to the inside a little bit here, and I am beginning to get a floor down. I know it's very similar to what we got going on here, but I think my general idea is I want the inside of this dungeon to look fairly organic, almost like a cave that was like overrun by zombies or some sort of fantasy monster, like an orc that was able to build a little bit. it's all going to be enclosed and have this organic feel. We'll add some maybe statues, things like that. Kind of give it an eerie feeling. But because we're using a lot of the same blocks, I am constantly running out of things that I need. So we're all out of tuff. I'm gonna have to go to the house, see if I have some. I probably ran through it, at least most of it. So I'll end up going down to the mine and collecting a bunch of that, so that hopefully we can finish this off for the most part at least. I'm thinking we're actually going to grab this efficiency 4 pick as well, because I believe that deep slate would look really good on the roof to kind of give it that sky feel, just like a really dark top where it's kind of hard to see where the roof begins and ends. But deep slate takes so long to mine. It's honestly such a pain that I cannot do it with the iron pick. We need to bring out the enchants for that. Alright, so I finished gathering up a lot of the materials here. So we got this deep slate up here for the roof. I think that's going to look pretty good up there with the dark roof once it's all enclosed. And I was able to continue getting most of the floor, I think, at this point put in. I still have to decide fully what I want to do here, because I really like the tinted glass, but obviously it's a block too low, and I gotta figure out how I'd like to hide the hopper barrel situation, or if I want to leave it just there. There's some logistics to figure out, but I think it's looking promising and we're moving in the right direction. Just letting the room kind of flow and decide what shape it wants to take on its own, rather than me gutting this entire thing and then figuring it out myself, I think has been a positive decision overall. I definitely want to open this up a little more to create some cool decor in here, but at the entrance, because it's right at the slope of the hill, it's just kind of going to be a shallow roof, and we're going to have to just work around that for the entrance. I don't think it should be too much of a problem, but that's kind of what we're working with here. So, yeah. With our roof almost completely in place, we're just going to be making our way to the main XP farm area. And our tinted glass is completely in, so we can begin to fill out the floor and get decorating. For now, I think I'm going to move on to these walls and filling all these in, so that we no longer have these empty spaces, and then we can tackle this main room as its own separate space when we get there. Alright, so what I'm kind of landing on for the walls in general so far is going to be a little bit of like a gradient with the darkest at the top, because I'd like to create a kind of effect like the roof and the dark blocks on top are bleeding into the walls. So I think that's gonna look nice to kind of make this really dark, damp feeling with the bluish green undertones of the tuff kind of going into the pale moss and then the mossy stone. I think it's going to really add an eerie feel to the whole thing that we got going on here. So I'm going to fill in these walls and then I will be back to continue updating. We got the hallway all the way complete and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I think we got a good eerie feeling coming through here so far. I'm probably going to go through with some glow lichen and stuff like that when I do some detailing and decorating in here to make sure that we really get a dark feel. I don't want any mobs to be able to spawn, but just making it as dark and dingy as possible and not well lit is kind of the goal here. For this room, I'm thinking what I'm gonna do is I want to just have a couple of endless looking doorways, like this is just the beginning of the dungeon and there's many different routes you can take to get lost while inside. So I'm gonna just kind of turn this into a somewhat regular looking room, and then I'll add those dungeon doors in here. And then I was thinking we could use some copper lanterns and things like that, or maybe some soul sand on fire to make the like soul lanterns or soul torches in here to give it that creepy feel. So we got most of this in here now, and this room has been completed for the most part. I added these doorways, as well as got the ceiling and walls and things in place, and I'm pretty happy with it for the most part. These doors that are supposed to be leading down to different corridors are not fully complete. I did a little bit of like black glass and some deep slate behind them to give them a hollow feel for now, but I plan on later in another episode potentially expanding these down and turning them into actual rooms, which is why I wasn't worried about making them look perfect or doing the fog effect where you layer glass. I wrote with signs what I was thinking about using these corridors for. The first was going to be a nether portal, just because we only have that one hidden under our road right now. So I thought we could make a cool portal room with one of the doors. The other is a rotten flesh villager. I thought that we could make a cool like dungeon master or a sales merchant in the middle of the dungeon and have him be I think it's clerics that sell or that will give you emeralds for rotten flesh. This would be great just because obviously we're getting a ton of rotten flesh from the XP farm, so why not make good use of it, right? And then the last one would be an enchanting room, and that would be just for convenience sake. It would be nice to have the enchanting set up here as well as at the house so that I don't have to do the whole run back and forth to do my enchanting. I think I finished the interior, at least for now. I filled it up and I tried to make it look like something along the lines of a dungeon that's been run through and used by different bandits or people on the road to stay overnight. and so it's been used and trashed, and now this is what we have left over. Everything's overgrown, and there's different remnants of different people. Water pooling on the ground to make it kind of look dingy. And then we have the glow lichen kind of creating a very dim glow in here. And then we have the XP farm itself. So I'm going to clean up our mess a little bit here, and then we are going to go to the enchanting setup back at the starter base, which is just over that hill, so that we can get our final task done, being to get fully diamond enchanted. Alright everybody, and here we are, done cleaning up, and we are ready to enchant. So I want to start by going into our book and marking this off as complete, because we finished our XP building, and now we are going to get the diamond enchants. Our goals are going to be full armor, 3 of which with blast protection, 3 of which with normal protection 4, 1 with blast protection 4, a silk touch pickaxe, a fortune 3 pickaxe, and then efficiency and unbreaking on the shovel and the axe. There's more than just these general things that I'm going for. Like, I'd love to have aqua affinity and respiration on the helmet, and as well as what's the like fast swimming one? Shoot, I can't remember, but on the boots and stuff like that. But these are just like our general enchantment goals. Later down the line, if we invest a little more time with villagers and books and things like that, we can get like the perfect armor, but I just like a good general set so we can move towards the nether and things like that. And here we are, 59 levels in the tank, so let's begin checking and seeing what we got. Breaking 3. I actually didn't really have a goal with the sword. Probably go for smite. I think that makes the most sense in solo survival. I don't really need the sharpness. Most of the mobs we're killing are undead. Bane of Arthropods isn't worth it. I don't like sweeping edge. I don't like fire aspect. I find that they just get in the way more often than not. So let's give one of these a try. Efficiency 4 on breaking 3. Alright, that is perfect. That is exactly what we want. This pickaxe, we can either disenchant and reenchant, or we could add on to something else. Alright, I think I'm going to go for the silk touch, because that is something we need. Silk touch on breaking 3. I really wish we had the efficiency, but we could add these two together later on. I think, honestly, I'm going to go for the efficiency 4 on the shovel. That is just about perfect. I cannot complain about that. I've decided that I am just going to disenchant the pickaxe, and we will reroll for fortune 3. Alright. Those pants are perfect. Come on. Oh, and fortune 3 ready for us. And efficiency 4. No unbreaking, but that's alright. We will probably do our mining with the silk touch, even though we don't have efficiency on it yet. And then we can take it back for the fortune 3, since this one's already pretty damaged up. We can repair that though. That will not be a problem. That feels good. We got all of our diamond on now. And we are set to go for the episode. We accomplished all the tasks we had written in our book here. We went to the nether, we got the soul sand, built the XP farm and the building, and got our enchants. So, that is going to be about it today. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you liked it. comment something you want to see more of, and a name for the horse. Subscribe if you want to be notified when the next video comes out so you don't miss it. And I hope to see you again next time. Hope you have a great rest of your day or night, and I will see you later. See ya!